Hey, I'm Drotos from KeyboardImprov.com, and welcome to day 5 of my 31-day Jazz Piano for Beginners Workout Challenge. And yes, we are working towards fluency, not being overloaded with theory right from the beginning, so we can jump right in, we can jam, we can have fun, and play real jazz while listening to the notes and really getting it. And thanks for being here. I found that my playing has already improved in the last couple days, and we're going to dive right in today. The goal, of course, is to get to the point where we're already having fun playing and can actually play jazz before we open the real book and just start looking at these complex chord progressions, and then, it can be overwhelming at first. And at the same time, though, play some of the melodies. Get to know the melody to Autumn Leaves, to All the Things You Are, to All of Me, to some of the tunes, so that when you do tackle the chords and improvising on them, you already know the tunes. So we're going to set the timer for 20 minutes, and we're going to start right in at a medium swing tempo with a C major 7 chord in our left hand. So we have C, the root, E, the 3rd, G, the 5th, and B, the 7th. And we're just going to play the left hand at first, and I'm going to walk a bass line, and I'll play the same chord up an octave so you can hear it. And but you're playing it right below middle C. And when you play chords in the left hand, or if it was 2 hands or accompanying someone else, they call that comping. It's like short for the word accompanying, but in jazz they tend to say, comping. We're comping. At first we're just going to play it and get used to playing it once every 2 measures. So we're going to hold it down for 8 beats. Here we go. 1, 2, left hand. Now try it again. Yeah, so you're playing down there with your left hand. Again. So in jazz, in the early days of jazz, if we were learning in, say, 1920 until definitely 1940, maybe even in certain circles up through the 50s, we wouldn't just be playing the chord and, they sort of comp with different rhythms. We would have been playing a very steady rhythm underneath. And it would probably have been the bass, then the rest of the chord. Like a simple stride pattern. Not just jumping from the beginning, but we would have been going root, rest of the chord. So it's like a horse, clip, clop, clip, clop. And that comes from ragtime music, right? Clip, clop, clip, clop, clip, clop, clip, clop, clop. And that was really common. And I saw a video with Chick Corea once, and he was saying how when he was a kid, he learned Take the A Train, and it was like that. He was playing Take the A Train, and the left hand was just playing this simple stride. It's a really good way to start. We're not going to start right there, although if you like that style, you can do that too on your own. You can learn tunes like that. We're going to start by just sort of a little more, I hate to say it, but modern jazz, certainly mainstream jazz from the bebop era of the 40s to the present. And we're going to play these chords in different parts of the beat. And I want to start doing it just intuitively at first. So I'm going to keep the walking bass line going. And you could do things like leave a lot of space. You can play long notes, short, with the left hand. For now, with the left hand. Okay? And just have fun. There's no real right or wrong. Just make sure you stay on the beat or around the beat, okay? So you're going to play that C chord in different comping rhythms. And I'm going to improvise in my right hand and play a walking bass line. So we'll have 3 things going on at once. Your rhythms with the chord, my bass line, and my improv. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so you're going You could try some different rhythms, especially if you've played before, but it's okay just to hold it down for every 2 measures or 4 measures or whatever. And we're going to improvise using all the white notes, the C major scale. We're not worried about fingerings because we're not going to necessarily play it all the way up and down. We're just going to find these little pockets of a few notes. Okay? And then just play a little phrase, linger or rest, and then play another phrase, okay? So let's try it together. We'll just play at the same time. 1, 2, left hand chord, and keep going. So that might have come easy to you, or it might have been very difficult. Now, one of the things that I'm trying to emphasize here is that it's okay to play what comes easy to you. So for instance, let's say it was hard to play both hands at once. You could just continue with the left hand during those things. You're still going to get better, and you're going to have fun, right? There's no one level that you have to stay at all time, to keep up with. So you could just do that. Or you could have just played the right hand for some extra practice, right? Improvising. Because eventually you'll be able to get both. So don't feel like you have to get everything the first time, right? Again, we're reversing the usual curve of practicing like the really hard stuff 70% of the time, and maybe a couple times jamming and having fun with what we know. We're doing it the other way around. You're going to get much farther like that, especially at the beginning. So you know what? Forever, not just at the beginning, forever you'll get more farther like that. So we're playing 70% of the stuff we can do, and 30% practicing and really digging in. So maybe later on you sit down and you just try to do that for about 10 minutes, 20 minutes until you can get it. Or maybe after you go through this whole 31 days, you do it again, and it'll be easier for you. There's no hurry. So I'm going to keep a walking bass line again. And this time, let's trade fours back and forth. So you're going to play the left hand the whole time. If you want to use different rhythms or just the C, holding it down, C major 7. But I'm going to improvise for 4 measures here, and then you do it. Okay? Here we go. 1, 2, just the left hand to start, and... right hand. Your right hand. Started with 8s there instead of 4s, I'm not sure. Okay, that's improvising over a C major 7 chord in the key of C. It's the 1 chord, it's the tonic. Now let's move our left hand 1 note up to D minor 7th. We'll cover some of the different chords in the scale today. So we have D, F, A, C. Just play that and listen to it. Sounds really nice, right? D minor 7th, it's the 2 chord. And the interesting thing here is that because it's in the key of C, we can use that same scale in the right hand. We can just use the white notes still. We don't even have to think of this as a D minor scale. We can just still think of it as the white notes. We're in the key of C, but we're just not quite on home plate. We're across the street, right? Okay, from home. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna improvise with our right hand using the white notes. Just playing these short little phrases, mostly stepwise. I'm not skipping too much because it's harder to hear. We're trying to develop our ears here. And in the left hand, you can just hold the D chord down and play it once in a while again, or you can try some different rhythms for fun, you know. But it may sound great, or it might be a little awkward at this point if you're just starting with it. That doesn't matter. Just enjoy it and stay with the beat. All right, I'm going to walk the bass, and you got it. Okay, 1, 2, a D minor, here we go. I don't know if you noticed, because if this is the first time, you might not have noticed, right? You probably wouldn't. But when we were playing the C chord down here, the notes in the C chord in the right hand were the notes that you might have gravitated towards. You know, like when I was improvising over C, I intentionally started on F. And then it's not a note to avoid. I talked about that the other day. Sometimes people call it an avoid note. It's really not. Beethoven put it on the accented third beat of the measure, right? You don't avoid it, but maybe it's not the lingering note. I'll call it a non-lingering note, right? Right? It actually provides a nice energy to the line. You don't want to avoid it at all, but it's a non-lingering note. And the notes in the chord will always sound good. The other notes can sound really good. They're more colorful. So you just have to sort of not overthink it, but kind of be aware that the chord tones are what I call centers of gravity. You're probably doing it intuitively anyway. And then when you get to D minor, so let's do that. Let's play a C chord in the left hand and play some of the chord tones. Listen to how they work, and then you connect them with the other notes. So you might play C, D, E, then D, E, F. Okay? But then when you move to D minor in your left hand, play that. The C doesn't sound so much like the tonic, it's D. And the other notes are the passing tones. The notes of the D minor chord are the centers of gravity. You might want to linger on a little more or come back to. Not always, and like I said, don't overthink it. We don't want to let the theory dictate what we play, because our ear will do that too. Theory is just a way of explaining what your ear would naturally hear. I never thought of that before. That's exactly right. theory is just to say, oh, well, my ear would, if I played a chord and I said sing a note, you probably sing a note that's in the chord, right? Center of gravity. All right, so now we're going to change back and forth between those two chords, but we're going to stay on each one a long time, don't worry. I'll let you know. We're going to start with C, major 7. 1, 2, improvise, here you go. Ready to go to D minor, here we go, and back to C, here we go. So you're improvising, right? Here's D minor. Yeah, and hopefully from 4 days of this, right, you're not in a compulsion to just play fast all over. You're thinking, you're playing on one note for a while, really swinging. Okay, all right. Now let's give your left hand a rest, shake it out a little bit, relax it. We're going to play the chords in our right hand because we do that in jazz sometimes, especially if you're playing a walking bass or something, or block chords. So let's play the C major 7 in our right hand, C, E, G, V, and just try different rhythms here and there. We'll kind of do it together, and then I'll start improvising while you accompany me. And when I give you the cue, let's go to D minor 7. Okay, go just back and forth between those. Very simple chord progression, but really beautiful, right? 1, 2, a C major 7. Here's D minor. You don't have to play a lot of chords, right? It still grooves. People tend to play too much at first. C, here we go. D minor. Let's stay on this for a little longer. I think it's really good to just have fun with something we're doing. And it's kind of like, piano playing can be very compulsive, right? Because we've had some of us have had 20 years of lessons where yeah, the teacher wants you to get to a certain point, so every lesson's a little harder than the previous one. Sometimes though we need to just play the same stuff all the time and get really good at it without, oh wow. Well, let's just do it one more time. So play the C major 7 in the left hand, and then I'll cue you on D. And you're going to improvise in the right hand. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. D minor. C. Yeah. So you hear how much we can actually play with root position 7th chords and the C major scale. It's really amazing. The whole universe of jazz is right there. So what we'll do is we'll start expanding, learning some new chords, different scale degrees in C, some basic chord progressions that are used in 2-5-1s and stuff like that, but in a way that we're actually doing it, not sort of always struggling to get every step, because it's just so much more fun like this. And then we'll fill in the gaps as we go along. So thanks for being here. Really appreciate it, coming along on this journey through beginning stages of jazz, but as you can see, it's intermediate and it's even advanced at the same time. There's tunes that from the 60s that are just 2 chords like that. So What by Miles Davis, which we will improvise on. Just 2 chords, just like that. So thanks. Leave comments. Let me know how you're doing, please. Encourage each other, support each other, comment on other people's, congratulate them. Whatever you would like someone to do to support you, support someone else too. They'll appreciate it and you'll get it back in high degrees, I'm sure. So thanks again, and there's some links to click if you're interested, including a video I think you may enjoy at the top left of the screen. Okay, thank you. See you tomorrow.